comic book fans? Welcome to the second edition of Pull This, the weekly video series where I tell you the top 5 comic books that you should pick up from a local comic shop this week. We are looking at the releases for July 25th, 2018. As you noticed, we are not at San Diego Comic-Con anymore, and we're not in my usual dungeon of a room. I'm actually still in my parents' garage because I still do not have a place of my own yet after moving. So yeah, it's about 115 degrees in here. It's hotter than, well, it's hotter than dick in here. So we're gonna get right into this and let's check out the 5 books of the week that you need to buy. Coming in at number 5 this week, we've got Lucy Dreaming, number 5, written by Max Bemis and drawn by Michael Dialanos. Max Bemis and Michael Dialanos' adorably hilarious miniseries comes to an end this week with Lucy Dreaming, number 5, and I'm actually pretty sad to see this book go. Whenever it hit newsstands once a month, I was pretty excited for it, and it usually was pretty awesome and pretty funny and just a great, light-hearted little romp through adolescence. Lucy Dreaming has been a wonderfully fun homage to pop culture while simultaneously expressing the power of imagination, while also being a totally hilarious coming-of-age story that shows just how shitty it is to be 14 sometimes. Lucy has finally gained control of her ability to transport between the realm of imagination and the real world. The only problem is in this final issue, she's accidentally brought all the evil villains from the imagination realm into the real world. So now she has to gather all of the different heroes in her imagination to fight off these villains and save her reality. Does it sound a little cliche? Yeah, it sounds incredibly fucking cliche. It's actually the most cliche fucking story in the book. But Max Bemis is writing it, and he's got such an awesome sense of humor, and Michael Dialanos' art is just so whimsical and cartoony in all the right ways that it really makes this book unique when it really shouldn't be, because like I said, it's a very cliche story. But, just to reiterate, Max Bemis and Michael Dialanos teaming up together make this a completely unique story that is a must-read and is super enjoyable for fans of, really, of all ages. Coming in at number 4 this week, we've got Mr. and Mrs. X number 1, written by Kelly Thompson and drawn by Oscar Bazaldua. Honestly, why do so many comic book creators have to have such fucking tongue twister names? Like, it's not an affront to their ability to draw or to write. If anything, it's an affront to my inability to master phonetics. But god damn, some of these names are really hard. So to Mr. Bazaldua, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but man, that is just a mouthful. Anyway, the fallout from X-Men Gold's big wedding issue is still dragging out dramatically in that series, but luckily Kelly Thompson is here to lighten the mood a little bit and tell the honeymoon and life ever after story of Rogue and Gambit, the Marvel Universe's favorite, most on-again, off-again couple to actually tie the knot. Like I said, Rogue and Gambit have always had this on-again, off-again, on-again, off-again, completely off, completely on relationship, so it seems like their biggest foe in this series is gonna be, like, actually staying in a fucking relationship for once. The duo will battle their fiercest opponents yet. Marriage licenses, moving in together, writing thank you notes, deciding which blender they should keep from the registry that they were given at their wedding. I mean, just pure excitement over here for me. I mean, gosh, I can't wait. These are just classic X-Men villains. All joking aside, this looks like it's going to be a light-hearted romp from Kelly Thompson that really celebrates one of Marvel Comics' most iconic, long-standing relationships. Kelly Thompson killed it on Hawkeye, and she even did a good job on her little short story in the X-Men wedding special. Meanwhile, the artist Oscar Bazaldua, got it, did a fantastic job on Star Wars Rogue One, so I can't wait to see what he does on an ongoing X title. I just wish his name was easier to pronounce, but it's not. Either way, this series looks super promising. You should definitely pick it up this week. Coming in at number 3 this week, we've got Justice League Dark number 1, written by James Tynion IV and drawn by Raul Fernandez. The main Justice League title is already off and running underneath Scott Snyder, but things have only just begun for DC's Super Squad, with the second of 3 planned books hitting shelves this week with Justice League Dark number 1. Metal and No Justice co-conspirator and former Detective Comics writer James Tynion IV is taking this new Justice League squad into the mythical horror realm of the DC universe, where they're gonna fight back against magical forces that are vying for the resurging power brought on by the Wonder Tree. So it builds directly off the events of not only Metal but No Justice, and gives Wonder Woman a team of her own to lead. This is also possibly the strangest Justice League team in the history of the Justice League. You've got Wonder Woman, who, let's be honest, is not strange. She's a staple of the Justice League. Then you got Zatanna, who, you know, not necessarily a staple, not really that weird. Then you got Swamp Thing. Okay, little weird that he's on the Justice League. Then you got Detective Chimp, who, I don't even know why he's still around. Like, I know he was in Metal, but I thought that was just a Metal thing. I didn't know he was gonna really stick around. And then rounding out the team, you have Man-Bat? That's not a typo. Man-Bat, the Batman villain, is in the Justice League. Like, what the fuck? Why is Man-Bat in the Justice League? Honestly, if it was any other writer than James Tynion IV taking this on, I'd be throwing a hissy fit right now, because it just doesn't make sense. That's a weird fucking character to put on the Justice League. But hey, I have faith. I trust James Tynion to have a good reason why he's on the team, and I bet it's gonna be a pretty cool reason, so you might as well check it out. Hopefully this series will stand as a stark contrast to the ongoing main Justice League title, which is fixated on galactic threats. This title will be more fixated on the mythical and magical threats and have much more of a darker horror tone to it, and these threats will be a lot more immediate and not nearly as over dramatic, so I'm kind of looking forward to a more grounded story, albeit a grounded story that is rooted in magic. Either way, it's more Wonder Woman, and when has more Wonder Woman ever been a bad thing aside from Batman and Wonder Woman, The Brave and the Bold, which was a terrible series. I'm not going to get into it. I hated it. Either way, more Wonder Woman with Justice League Dark, a crazy team that doesn't even really make sense, although I'm sure it'll make sense by the end of this book. Just means you have to pick it up. It's going to be awesome. At number 2 this week, we've got Marvel 2-in-1 number 8, written by Chip Zdarsky and drawn by Ramon Perez. The Fantastic Four are back. Yeah, sorta, almost, not really. That's not till next month. But in the meantime, you should definitely tie yourself over with a little Marvel 2-in-1 action from Chip Zdarsky. This is the last issue of Marvel's 2-in-1 before Marvel's first family makes their triumphant return to the Marvel Universe. So I'm assuming there's gonna be some sort of connective tissue that explains how the Fantastic Four are back, and how Sue and Reed Richards are now, you know, back. Wouldn't it kind of suck though? I'm just spitballing here. Wouldn't it kind of suck if Sue and Reed make their triumphant return to Earth 616 and Johnny and Ben still aren't back yet? That they're still jumping through the multiverse trying to find them? So then the Fantastic Four series is just Reed and Sue trying to track down Johnny and Ben. Wouldn't that be like a really fucked up, not very happy storyline? So it's probably not gonna happen, but who knows, it could. I hope it doesn't, but that might be what happens. Either way, I'm excited for this issue. Hopefully it will give us a little bit of a hint as to where the Fantastic Four series is gonna go and how the Fantastic Four are gonna reunite within the Marvel Universe. So who knows what's gonna happen? Maybe Zdarsky and Perez are going to show us how Reed and Sue make their return to the Marvel Universe. Maybe we're not going to learn a goddamn thing. It's just going to continue to be a story just about Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm. I don't fucking know. But what I can tell you is it's going to be an enjoyable, more than likely hilarious issue, just like every other issue of this series has been. Seriously, if you've been sleeping on Marvel 2-in-1, just don't anymore. It's been incredibly enjoyable. Chip Zdarsky is kicking ass, as he does on basically everything. So you have to pick this up, whether you're a Fantastic Four fan or not. I promise you're gonna love this series. It's not quite a guarantee, but it's a promise. That's kind of different, right? If you looked it up in the dictionary, those would have slightly different. Well, we don't have a stamp for a promise, but we do have a stamp for a guarantee, so this isn't getting the stamp of a guarantee, it's getting the...
Or they have a stamp for a guarantee.
It's getting the thematic push of a promise. And our number 1 choice of the week is Doomsday Clock number 6, written by Jeff Johns and drawn by Gary Frank. Oh my god, people, I am so fucking sick of having to wait 2 months in between each issue of Doomsday Clock. It is such a kick-ass series. I look forward to it every time I see it on the solicits, but by the time a new issue comes out, I barely remember what happened in the last one, and I have to reread the previous issue just to have the context for the new issue. Now, it's not the biggest problem in the world because, like I said, it's such an awesome series, but I just want it to be released monthly or hell, bi-weekly. Maybe even just release the last 6 issues as a collected trade so I don't have to wait in between each one. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here with ideas, but I'm just sick of waiting. Luckily for issue number 6, I'm not gonna have to go back and reread number 5 because this issue sidesteps the main storyline and actually tells a flashback sequence focused on Marionette and the Mime. Now you might be thinking, Connor, Bud, Guy, Fella, Chief, why is this number 1 if it doesn't even progress the narrative at all? I mean, come on, that doesn't sound like a number 1 book to me at all, but I'll tell you why it is a number 1 book. That's because of Marionette and the Mime. Okay, these are 2 brand new DC villains who have turned into fan favorites who spawned directly from this series, who have completely made the series as kick-ass as it is. Without these 2 characters, I honestly think the series would be kind of forgettable, but they are just 2 awesome, amazing, memorable villains who are super shrouded in mystery at the moment, and this issue is going to shed some light on them, on their past, on how they became the criminals that they are, on why they're so inexplicably linked together, on what happened to their estranged child who seemingly died that they're trying to get back. There's a lot of mystery that hopefully will be revealed in this issue. It's also big for 2 reasons. 1, these 2 villains, they're in the DC universe now, so it's going to flesh out 2 existing villains within the DC universe who, judging by the fan reaction, are going to be around for a while. And number 2, it fleshes out the Watchmen universe more because it's going to show what these villains were like when they were within the Watchmen universe, and will give us an idea of who the Watchmen were fighting and really change, maybe not really, but possibly change reader perception of the Watchmen, 35 years later. So maybe we'll go back and reread the Watchmen and have a new understanding of it. Either way, I'm super excited to find out more about these villains, and you tie that into the fact that it's accompanied by Gary Frank's killer art where it's super clean and crisp, and it's these really nice panel layouts, and you're not going to have these chaotic sequences. It's all going to be really easy to follow and really intricately drawn. It just, I love this series so much, and I can't wait for this issue. It's the Connor guarantee of the week. You got to check it out. All right, and that wraps things up for Pull This for the week of July 25th, 2018. Thanks for sticking with us. I know the set is not very glamorous right now. You should feel how hot and humid it is in here. I don't know if you've seen the sweat that's accumulated on me since I've done this video. It's very hot in this garage. Hopefully this will be the last video from my parents' garage, and I can have my room set up next week and have an actual little mini studio set up for you guys. In fact, I'm actually talking to a couple comic shops to try to do these videos at a different comic shop every week, and we can highlight what those shops are like. I don't know, I'm actively brainstorming these ideas. If you have any ideas, feel free to shoot them over to me on Twitter, whatever. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, like, all those fun things, and make sure to come back next week for another episode of Pull This.